Hey guys, DJ here at Top Deck Cards and Games, and today I have a Synchron deck profile. Since we got the new Synchron starter decks and a couple new tools to play with in a deck like this, I thought I would build the deck and try it out for a little bit and just see where we got. So let's just get into the list. First, we have 3 Mathematician. Mathematician is super important for this deck because we have a ton of cards that we want to put into our yard to play with. We want to have cards like Level Leader, Dandelion, Jet Synchron, Glow Up Bulb, all in our graveyard. They're not very useful in our hands, so we have 3 mats to kind of facilitate getting those cards where they need to go. Similarly, we have 3 Level Leaders because it's just a card we really want to see. This deck doesn't do a ton without one. It works still, but it doesn't work as well. Level Leader is really, really important for getting you enough monsters to tune with, enough level 1 specifically, and just for getting levels where you need them to be. Next, we have 3 Quick Draw Synchrons. Quick Draw is also just very important for being a high-level Synchron monster, giving us access to all the sweet Synchros that need a Synchron for a material, as well as just giving us a special summonable tuner monster. We have 2 of the new Jet Synchron. 3 might be correct, but 2 has been okay so far. You have a lot of access to it because of things like Mathematician, Foolish Burial, 1-for-1, Road Warrior. This guy's kind of like Fishboard Blaster in that you get to pitch a monster or a card from your hand rather to special from your graveyard and get an extra synchro. It is a card, right? Yeah, 1 card. Then it gets removed from play, so it doesn't let you just continuously do ridiculous things like Fishboard did, but it does let you make 2 synchros, which in this deck is a lot of times all you really need. Next, we have 2 Junk Synchron. The other effect on Jet is that it can search for a Synchron monster. So I chose, or a Junk monster rather, not a Synchron. Yeah. So I chose to use 2 Junk Synchrons to do that, as well as to help facilitate plays with Doppel Warrior and just get back our tuners to make multiple plays. One of your big kind of fumblings with this deck will be not being able to get enough tuners into play to really do what you want. So Junk, get back to level 1 will really help you do what you want. 2 Doppel Warriors next. We're playing 2 because we have 3 Reinforcement of the Armies in our deck, and I just didn't want to clog up too much. This guy's just a worse Dandelion, but he is tutorable, so that helps. Next, we have a very light Perform Mage engine. We have 2 Damage Jugglers, 2 Hat Trickers, and 1 Trick Clown. Damage Juggler just helps us if we stumble to keep ourselves alive, as well as being a very productive card to discard for Quick Draw, because we don't lose the card really. We just put Juggler into our grave, then get to remove it to add either Hat Tricker or Trick Clown to our hand. Hat Tricker is really the one you want. It just gives you an extra body to synchro with, and the important part of it being level 4 is that it lets you make Librarian with just 1 tuner in it, instead of needing to go through multiple steps, jump through hoops, get rid of tokens, stuff like that to get your Librarian. This card just makes it on its own, which is really good. The reason I'm playing a Trick Clown instead of a 3rd Hat Tricker is partially just for the variety, just giving yourself multiple options. I mean, literally just for that, I guess. The big bonus this card has over Hat Tricker is if you have a Doppel Warrior in your hand, you can trigger it with the Trick Clown effect, so I wanted to keep a copy of it in. Then we have 1 Unknown Synchron, just really good when you're going second, an extra Synchron monster, searchable with tuning. 1 Glow Up Bulb, just one of the best tuners in the game. 1 Dandelion, just a better Doppel Warrior, gives us a lot of tokens to play with. And 1 Spell Striker. Like I said, we have 3 Reinforcement of the Armies. I was interested in playing Rhoda to begin with because we have Junk Synchron and Doppel Warrior, which are both cards that we want to have sometimes. And I was just looking for another piece of utility we could get off of Rhoda. Spell Striker was just the best one, just giving us a guy we can special summon to put in play to keep synchroing with. Level 3 isn't the best, but it does get us there a lot of the time. It does what we need to do. And it's just a 1-of to be a Rhoda target. For our spells, we have 3 Upstart Goblins and 3 Into the Voids. I thought about playing 3 Chicken Race too, because really what we want to do is just set up ridiculous boards or just kill our opponent with Quasar in 1 turn. So I'm not really worried if I have to discard my hand at the end of the turn, because I'm going to play every relevant card in my hand and just make a gigantic board. Along with this, we have 3 Tuning and 3 Reinforcement of the Armies just to find our combo pieces. Tuning in particular is extremely good. Because we have 3 Tunings, I don't feel it is required to use 3 copies of Jet Synchron or to use like multiple crappy guys, like a bunch of unknowns or something. Like, I just got to play 3 Tunings and play really the minimum number of Synchrons that I thought was acceptable. Like I said, a 3rd Jet might be necessary, but it's just so searchable that I decided 2 was good enough for now. Then for our 1-ofs, we have Foolish Burial and 1-for-1, which are both extremely good. Allure of Darkness, which kind of suspect in this deck. We do have quite a few dark monsters that can clog if we draw too many of them, but certainly not a necessary card. and then Soul Charge. If you draw Soul Charge, you're going to do some really cool things. It just becomes very easy to set up Quasars and just all manner of ridiculously broken things. But that is the main board. There's a little bit of room for improvement, lots of tinkering to be done. The Performage engine might not be something that you actually need to play, which is an easy 5 slots right there if you can think of something else you want to replace it with. But as a set of cards, like, they just do a lot of things very well that this deck is interested in, like letting you recoup the loss from quick draws and letting you easily make Librarian, which is just so key for this deck. It is only a 5-card engine though, so there's a decent amount you can do with that space, but it's also not like you can jam in a whole nother engine. Most engines require a little bit more than that. The 5 Performages is a pretty good self-contained engine. Moving on to our extra deck, we have a Shooting Quasar Dragon and a Stardust Warrior. When you go off, your goal really is to set up with both of these cards in play. It's pretty hard to lose once they're there, so that's what you should kind of be aiming for. Then we have a Road Warrior, a Scrap Dragon, 1 Junk Archer, and 1 Clearwing. Drill Warrior, I don't have a generic level 6 in here currently, just one that I can make with Quick Draw. This might be incorrect. I might want to have a Goyo Guardian in here, but so far I've not needed it. But just the level might be relevant, so that's a card that I would consider playing. Then we have Excel, Hyper Librarian, and Jet Warrior. Excel and Jet Warrior is pretty good, not insane. Excel Synchron is actually, after Jet Synchron itself, the biggest boost of this deck, because you can just make this guy have another tuner in play to keep synchroing, and you can dump your Jet Synchron from your deck with it, which is just so good. We have Armory Arm, Mistbird Colossalus. This is supposed to be a Tatsunoko, but I don't own one, and my store didn't have any, so I've just been playing with Colossalus and seeing if it makes a difference. I might want both, might want neither, but I'm playing Colossalus right now. And then 3 Formula. Formula also could potentially be a 2 of, but I've needed 3 several times during playtesting, so I kept all of them in there. It just is the card that really lets you keep going, keep making plays, especially find ways to make big synchros. One card also that's noticeably missing, well, the 2 cards that are noticeably missing actually in my eyes are Black Rose Dragon to deal with my opponent's board. I built this deck with the intention in my head of just goldfishing and going off, seeing where I can get as often as possible, just trying to set up a board that my opponents can't beat. Obviously this isn't practical in a real tournament, so I've kind of just been playing it, trying to figure out which cards I do and don't need to do that, and then from there I can edit my extra deck with cards that will help me interact a little better. Those being especially Black Rose Dragon and Trishula. Trisha's still pretty good going first, actually, just removing a card from your opponent's hand. Like if you have Quasar and Stardust Warrior in play, for instance, and then you Trish a card out of your opponent's hand, like that's already pretty debilitating, so they're going to play the game with 5 cards against this, plus a Trish. That's not going to be easy to beat in any situation, like unless they have just this incredible pile of cards in their hand, so that's something worth considering in general. But for right now, I chose to go with just the most streamlined extra deck. Armory Arm is in here just to let me free up spots, by the way. Like, you don't really use Arm for much, but if you have, like, 2 tokens in play and a formula, you can clear up 3 spots by making the Armory Arm and just equipping it if you just need more spots to summon, like, quick draws and level leaders and stuff. Again, might not be necessary, but I just wanted to go with an extra deck that let me play my game as well as possible, and I figured I would worry about fitting interaction into the extra deck later. So this is kind of an early draft of the deck, not version 1 or anything. This has gone through several iterations and changes, but there is a lot of room for error in the extra deck. Like, I don't love it. Glenn, the person I've been working on the deck with, certainly doesn't love it either. We're arguing right now about what we want in it, to be honest. There's a solid, like, 25 cards I would like to have in my extra deck. If I start trying to put Exceeds in, because there's several Exceeds that I wouldn't mind playing as well, there's probably a good 30-some cards I would love to have in my 15-card extra deck. So it's a little bit easier said than done to really narrow this down and get the best cards in there. But in general, this is a pretty good starting point and a solid extra deck. The main is very good. I think not all of the cards are set in stone, but I would venture to say that if I play this deck, other than the Performages, Allure of Darkness, and maybe like the 3rd Rhoda or something, maybe I don't need all 3. So, something like that. I would venture to say that the other 33 cards are set in stone, so there's not a ton of space to play with, but if you're just trying to figure out ways you can edit the deck, these cards are certainly changeable. One thing that I messed with for a little while, I cut the Performage engine, just played some more normal summons, like an extra Junk, an extra Synchron, just some cards to help me play. And then I got to put like Solemn Scoldings in, so I could set up, stop my opponent from doing their things even easier than I can with a list like this. Another thing with this deck is you're very weak to Maxi, and I say weak kind of jokingly. If you have a decent hand and can play this deck super well, you can just deck your opponent through Maxi. Like, literally, they'll draw all of their deck. So it's a little bit daunting at first because your options really are going to be, like, if you're going first especially, like, you're either going to just leave yourself super vulnerable or you're going to try to deck your opponent. It's a little bit intimidating because, you know, I'm not great with this deck yet or anything either, and I know a lot of times if my opponent maxied me, I wouldn't be exactly sure how to get them to draw 35 cards. But it's definitely doable. It's definitely something you should be trying to figure out how to do, and it's a pretty good exercise to do if you're just goldfishing with this deck, that is just drawing hands like you're going first and seeing what happens. It's not a bad exercise to get into just to see how you can special summon enough cards to deck your opponent if they max you. And honestly, that's one of the most fun things to do with this deck and a big reason why I wanted to build it. But yeah, so here's a list for Synchrons, obviously. It's brand new. The starters just came out about a week or two ago. I've been having a ton of fun with it, and I'm very excited to get to play this deck more in the future. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments about the deck, about the video itself, anything you'd like to see changed, especially with the deck list, any questions you may have, any lists of your own you'd like me to take a look at for the Synchrons. I'm really liking the deck right now, and I'd be more than happy to talk about it with any of you. So just let me know downstairs what you think. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to our channel. If you're looking for anything for this deck, you can check out our website, topdeckcardsandgames.com. And other than that, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.